Oh, we got some viewers already. Holy shit. So I guess I'll just dive right into it. Now I got y'all's attention. A lot of people are talking about DeepSeek recently, and naturally, just like all big tech stuff that kind of blows everyone out of the water, seems to come out of left field, completely from out from under everybody's noses, right? Well, the good news is that just about anyone is capable of downloading any of these new models and running not only the model themselves, but different versions of the models. And today I wanted to take a look at a handful that I've downloaded and try to come up with like a algorithmic way to like a real systematic way to actually compare their local performance. Because people be, talking about, oh my God, it blows everyone out of the water, et cetera, et cetera. But they're talking about it from certain perspectives. And I think the real utility, like the real future of AI, is going to be about running these things locally. And I'm not the only person who thinks this. When you realize how easy it is for anyone to spin up llama.cpp and like load up local versions of these things, absolutely fucking amazing how easy this shit is. I have a few videos loaded up so we could talk about what people are saying and like the outcome and impact of the fact that these things can be trained at home so cheap. I haven't done any training myself, but I am experimenting with trying to come up with ways with like evaluating the models themselves. Because it's a lot to ask someone to continuously type into a web user interface, right? That takes a long time. Humans are slow, me especially. If there's a way for me to automate something, I want to be able to do that. So, can we automate some stuff? Of course. I was going to put on some music and I have light in the background, some of my own work. And we can, I don't know what you want to do first, what order I should do this in. But like I said, I've got a couple videos from CNN and CNBC talking about DeepSeek, and I don't know if they really get into the fact that you can go to fucking Hugging Face right now and download that shit. Like, I haven't used DeepSeek in the browser, and if I can avoid browser interfaces for AI, I plan to. They're not really the most efficient, but I understand why they exist. However, I do have a great command line interface. It's one that we can establish a feedback loop where I'm not wasting web requests or credits in order to achieve the same thing. And let's see. I can see that there's a bunch of drop frames right now. No big deal. All right, so I guess I'll just like dive into my testing procedures. Maybe we'll save the videos for afterwards if we get to them at all. Let me lower my window here. All right. So we're talking about AI. Good news is anybody can run things in their local browser, or rather their local machine. So I've got DeepSeek, Llama, Phi, and Qwen. Unfortunately, I don't have the full DeepSeek, because the full DeepSeek is actually really big. I downloaded DeepSeek Coder a while ago because I wanted to evaluate that, and then R1 came out and everyone started tripping balls. So we're going to compare these R1 distills though, because these are kind of interesting and I can actually run them locally. They're small enough that my machine can handle them. But if you had a much bigger machine, like one with like 4 GPUs, you could download the big multi-file sets for some of the bigger models. I got the 2-bit quantized version of the 70 billion Distill Llama model, because that's like the smallest one I think I could even run for that number of parameters. But the more parameters that you have on the model and the higher the quantization, ultimately the more GPU that you're going to need. End of story. So what I feel like is that for an individual, just average everyday user chilling at home, because, you know, in the idealized landscape, every in home that costs them central internet and custom tuned to whatever needs or daily tasks that person wants to do with the computer and the LLM together. You know, this is kind of an idealized landscape that we are very close to being able to achieve for anybody. In fact, the installation process is so fucking easy. It could be basically one click script, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, the instructions are out there for how to do this, but I've stepped through it enough times. It's so easy, even to get the, like, I've got a CUDA accelerated version of Llama that I built here, and it was really easy to do. So it's a good time, you know. This is like a great place in history for us to be as a civilization. So why not, let's actually run the Llama server, right? Enough chit chat, enough bullshit. So here's all the different Llama binaries. Let me make sure y'all can see my shit. Yeah. These are all the different Llama binaries that you have available to you. The one that I'm going to be working with is, well, I'm going to be working with two mainly. Llama CLI and Llama server. CLI is kind of interesting. So what this one allows you to do is you can load up a model and interact with it in the same kind of chat environment, or even in a single one-shot question situation, just like you would, chatting with ChatGPT or some other web thing like Claude or whatever. So let's give that a try, right? Let's do one of the DeepSeeks. Let's do DeepSeek R1 Distill llama for quantization. Relatively, smaller than it would be. Now we have to set some other flags. Oh wait, no, I'm gonna do this differently. So model, we can actually set some environment variables. All right, so we've set the prompt and the model location. I actually have a recently written command. 11945. All right, let's give it a run. Okay, so sometimes it gets stuck in a loop, and you have to kind of tune the parameters a bit. NGL has to do with number of GPU layers that you export to the GPU. Also, there's a variable that I want to be able to use. There we are. GGML enable unified memory equals 1. And what this should do is, if there's any sort of overflow in the in the request or the GPU itself, it should get offloaded to my real computer RAM, of which I have a lot. So we're gonna get rid of this. So this is the kind of thing that we get back when we interact with it on the command line like this. Now, if you want to limit the number of, like the size of the context that comes back, I think we could do like 100 like this. Also, I'm noticing that it uses quite a bit of CPU. I think there's some other variable I'm supposed to use to offload more to the GPU, but Okay, so that's a context window of 100. As you can see, it cut itself off, but it was giving us a very long answer. And remember, our model is currently DeepSeek R1 Distill llama. If we wanted to like try and fine tune the prompt a little bit, short answer only, one sentence. So we could rerun that with -2 runs until the context window is exceeded. -1 is basically eternity, and it's the default. Let's try to see what like n of 1 is, right? Sure is it's only no. All right, what about 10? Also not very good. So I find these answers to be very long and redundant, and I don't know that that's strictly the model itself. So if we were to change the model, something else. That was llama 8 billion Q4. And now we can do like DeepSeek. Let's do DeepSeek Coder, right? That was one of the very, very first ones that I downloaded. So we're gonna run this again with n of -2. Remember, the question is, what is 2 plus 2? Yeah, that's a good answer. But then it starts throwing all this extra shit in there. Remember, this is DeepSeek Coder, which is a predecessor to the R1 model. But I began running into these YouTube videos that were like, oh my god, DeepSeek gonna threaten the whole AI industry. So DeepSeek Coder, and now it's throwing out like something that is blatantly copied from somewhere else. It's throwing out like literally a whole ass licensing thingy, and then it just like new lines for eternity, which this is just a big problem. So you have to control C on that shit, because otherwise it won't even, you know, give you a chance to respond. So there, you know, in certain cases, the automation of trying to grade each of these things becomes a challenge when you're faced with stuff like that. So in the best context, 100 is probably more than plenty to answer 2 plus 2. Oh wait. Yeah, it starts throwing out some weird stuff. And it throws out code. Just starts writing Python out of nowhere. I mean, this shit is wild already, right? Like, we haven't even gotten to a formal process of testing yet, because I'm just teasing out like the whole idea of when you're automating anything, you have to start by doing it manually first. Once you have the manual process down, it's very easy to throw that manual process into a loop. So ultimately, you have one command here, and we can actually write the contents of this out to a file like test.txt, right? I actually have a bunch of them from earlier that I'm going to delete right now. Teststar.txt. So we're going to do like a little sample test here where we loop through the same question for the same model multiple times and then look at like how different all of the different answers are that one model with the same parameters fucking produces, and it's going to be crazy. And we're not even doing anything that wild yet. So remember that this is the prompt, right? For I and all right, might take a moment. Actually, first, here, I'll print out when each one's completed. How's everyone doing tonight? I hope y'all are having a good evening. Currently, we are generating files using llama CLI with the DeepSeek coder model. I'll have to double check what the number of parameters and quantization we're using. But we are generating 10 or 11 test files asking the question, what is 2 plus 2? Short answers only. Because these models have a tendency to generate overly verbose responses. But look how easy it is to do this kind of testing without having to do like an API request or anything like that. Kind of nice. All right, so now we're going to print out each file and then also follow it up with which file was printed out. And remember, this is all for the same model. So currently using DeepSeek Coder 6.7 billion with 4-bit excuse me, 4-bit quantization. So here's the first answer. Here's the last answer. Printed 10 first because, you know, we anyone who's done computers long enough knows about the difference between algorithmic and knows the difference between alphabetic and numeric sorting when it comes to file names. But here's the first answer. Here's a second answer. Here's the third answer. Here's the fourth answer. Notice that for none of these, this one right here. I mean, if it had stopped there, that would have been perfect. But then it gives us all of this extra shit. This one gave us SQL code. This one gave us fucking HTML. This one gave us Python. This one gave us a bunch of extra questions. This one gave us something that appears to be Python tuples. This is Python. This is Markdown. I like how it did this. It gave an example where the user types a message, what is 2 plus 2? The bot responds with the answer to 2 plus 2 is 4. This is honestly what it should, like that should have been the whole thing it came back with. And right here, this is pretty good right here. But like the examples, I need no examples. Why is it so hard to like get, you know, in just one shot like that, right? So let's say we wanted to generate some more. Maybe we wanted to generate with like a shorter context window. And maybe we wanted to generate more of them. I'm going to sleep 3 seconds between so that we're not like totally, you know, ramming the CPU. The short context window means that the generation process should be rather fast. But you see how we're doing this though now, right? Like doing this process though, we'll be able to repeat this for not only every model that we have available to us, but also for every combination of like input parameters, as well as for different prompts. And we'll be able to do like real data statistics and analytics on the resulting content and like make graphs and shit to like actually figure out which of these models and future models as well are actually like better than others based off how they respond to like simple ass prompts and like what they actually throw back. Because some of the answers, like parts of the answers are usable in some cases, right? Like this is kind of promising, but maybe certain things are better to throw at it than others. And so that's why we're doing this, is we want to be able to start iteratively generating results and then like stepping that up into like a full-blown script where we can just automate the full-blown generation of all the testing rather than doing it manually in this way that we're currently doing. But to build up to that point, we have to do this first. Once we have every, you know, incremental step, we put them together and then boom, we wait. When I do that longer training and or generation, I'm going to probably record that as a separate video from the stream. But I'm happy that we've got people interested in this, because I've been interested in generative text for a long time. But it's really important to know that this shit is not, despite what the video title says, this is not artificial intelligence. This is LLMs, which I do not consider to be AI, despite what other people might say. This is generative text. This is text prediction. All right, let's take a look at the files. This one tried to throw us a fucking line of HTML. This one gave us a completely separate question. This one gave us an answer in text. 4. Else. This one gave us like Python doc code. This one gave it to us in the form of a comment. This one gave us HTML that was totally irrelevant. Remember, these are all from the same model. Return 4. Nice. I like this. This is Java. That's fucking nice. I like that. That's kind of funny. This one gave us the and notice in all of these, it's actually giving us the question back in the it's like repeating the answer, the question in what it's returning. And then here, like, it decided to, auto-complete it based off of this. So if we wanted to repeat testing with a different prompt, let's not even ask what is 2 plus 2. Let's just say 2 plus 2 equals question mark. All right, let's go. Now, I could be using something like parallels to speed things up a bit, but that would probably cause a lot of it'd probably be very computationally expensive to spin up more than one instance of llama in a given moment. So thought about parallels just now, or parallel rather, which is different from parallels. I believe parallels was a dual booting solution for a lot of people who wanted to boot into Mac OS or Windows from their Mac machine. So far, so good. What do I consider AI? Whatever it is that I actually can consciousness that is equal to humans, but also to create not just consciousness, but super consciousness. Something that is so radically superior to what any human is capable of doing on their own, or with tools, or without tools. Just period. Just leaps and bounds up beyond, right? Like being able to I think this is a valid question. I think that, for a lot of people in tech, they look at regular people as being too stupid as to be able to figure out the difference. And I think that they push a lot of stuff with the hope and goal, especially for achieving like funding on really cool. You can get them to give you a lot of money to do something. I think this just goes without saying, though. Self-awareness, the ability to touch yourself. In other words, not in the bad way, of course, but be able to feel yourself here, right? The AI can't do that yet. The AI can't do this. It can't put its hands on its own head and say, oh, I exist. You can ask it if it exists, and it might give you a big ass long convincing representation that there might be a being trapped inside of this little square box, but that's not what's happening. That's not exactly how this works. You can't get consciousness from multiplying matrices together really fast using GPUs. That's just not how this shit works. So if you want to consider what we have today as LLMs as quote AI, then I think that requires a drastically different redefinition of what is or isn't, artificial intelligence. Because at that level, I think it's a lot less of a threat on so many different levels. Just period. All right, so we've got some stuff we just generated. Wow. Wild answers out the gate. First three don't even give us like a correct anything. It's acting as if it's trying to autocomplete something else. Man, that's oh. Yeah, that sucks that my bandwidth's been going in and out this whole time. I am recording this locally though, so I will definitely re-upload it later. But using this kind of process, we can evaluate how good an answer is or isn't. Because, like, there's a lot of different metrics that we can kind of measure this off of. Holy shit. This motherfucker said 2 + 2 = 5. This motherfucker said 2 + 2 = 5. Second time. This also said 2 + 2 = 5. Clearly something. Okay, this one actually is correct. This one's correct. It only took 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, actually the fourth one was correct. So how many of these were actually correct? Or have a partially correct answer? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. 8 out of the 10. No, sorry, 8 out of 11. Jesus. 8 out of 11 gave us, had correct answers in them somewhere. Maybe we need a little bit of a rephrasing of the prompt again. All right, this is the last time I'm generate for this model, and then we're going to do the same process across a number of different models. We're going to take all of those text files. Well, I'm not doing that in this stream, but once we have all of those text files available to us, we're going to be able to do things with them, such as actually compare them and see how close to correct the model was for a given prompt and a given set of parameters. So let's actually just do 9.
Fuck you, I'm a gamma ray burst. burst. I get nasty. I get nasty.
All right. Motherfucker said, N is 5 again. Okay, so this one's correct.
They say that life is the lesson. So don't make
So yeah, like Coder really likes working with code, I guess.
boosting up my signal so my sound will reach you from the top of your attic to the ground beneath you. In life after death, no conquest. The challenge is now. There's no
Change the model.
test. In life after
So
death, there might be no conquest.
so we have models besides DeepSeek, right? We have llama, Phi, and Qwen. Qwen was one of the first ones that I ever tried out. Qwen Coder. So far I feel like llama has given me like the most direct answers or the best quality answers. We could do the 3 billion instruct. So in a similar way, we're going to end up iterating over all of the different models that I have available and actually run this sequence of file generation on them so that we can, right? Remember what is
If you can't code, your brain is going to explode, rot, corrode, erode, overload, like an electrode. Your whole mind explodes. That's been walking on how many years now on death row? All because you think it would be weird to command your console?
So we are currently running it on llama 3 billion instruct.
Shortly devour, I devour, they soul, men they brains and bodies, I now's control because everyone's got that missing hole. There's a lot of people out
Very good so far. Right out the gate, first one correct, second one correct, third one correct. I wonder if I can get it to do not repeat the prompt. Do not repeat the prompt. All right. What the ever-loving fuck did it do here? 1, 4, 2, 6, 3, 8, 4, 10. N equals 4. That's pretty straightforward. It actually keeps repeating the prompt no matter what we do. So,
cut into you deep, life starts to fade.
So let's go ahead and do this. Actually, so we're gonna write this out to first off, for model in slash AI models slash star to echo dash I 2. Oh wait, not I. Model. Okay, so yeah, that's it. That's it. Okay, see that actually gave me an answer that I wanted right away. So it's variable pound star slash. So it's model pound star slash. Nice. Okay, so this allows us to create file name for each model that we run this on, right? All right, so this will take a little while to run because it has to do it for each model that I have available. But we're only running it within 20. So we're going to do in-20 there. And we can actually parameterize that as well so that we have yet another loop wrapping around the whole thing during this whole generation process so we could iterate through different values for n. Oh, and we need another closing done. But actually, where I say oh, that's very generous of you to say that. I wouldn't say that so much as I've just been doing this a long time. But people do seem to think I'm okay. Let's not hype me up too much. Because anyone can get to this point. Anybody. Alright? Like, I don't feel like I'm doing anything too special here, nor should you. But it's good to be excited about things, knowing that there are levels to this shit and you can get better. Anybody can ascend. And there's really not much going down. There's really only up. So we are automatically generating answers to questions using llama CLI given a number of different AI models. We ask it the question, what is 2 plus 2, essentially, in different ways. And we are just waiting for the files to get generated now. See, I'm 39, and I started programming when I was 10 or 11. I usually say 10 or 11. I couldn't tell you exactly which, but it was somewhere around there. I had a Tandy 5000, 1000, something like that, with MS-DOS that a friend of my grandmother's, who was an employee for her self-employed, cleaning company, gave her as a hand-me-down when they got Windows. And Windows 95. Like, this is like 1995, 96. It's probably before any of you, some of you were even born. But even then, even as like teenager, trying to pick this shit up without having any guidance, I looked up to other programmers like John Carmack, for instance, one of the guys involved in the development of Doom. It was kind of a thrill for him to respond to a tweet. You get to kind of high five with a yeah, of course we're live. Are you crazy? It says I'm live, right? I'd let you know if this was a pre-recorded. Not to mention, when the stream's over, it shows up in my, channel as under a live stream, so. We are live. Fuck it, we'll do it live. You know what I'm saying? Shout outs to fucking Bill O'Reilly and the old school Fox News. Miss that shit. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Fuck it. Love that guy. Such a good classic meme. We don't have memes like that anymore, y'all. What happened? Did y'all get too lazy because the AI made everything too easy? This is why nobody knows how to code anymore and everyone feels like it's threatening their jobs. What the fuck happened? Like I was bitching about like React and shit, like taking over the web 10 plus years ago. This is a guitar riff that's basically impossible to play. Maybe you could if you had like a big enough guitar. But it's too high up on the board. It basically hits like non-existent notes. or notes that like you wouldn't be able to really hit. Maybe. I think the spread is also too far. Like I manually yeah, I haven't tried the app yet, right? Like as I was saying at the beginning of the stream, um I only recently signed up for Claude, and I also don't like having to use my phone number to register for shit, right? That shit's fucking annoying. I wish places would stop doing that. I know why they're doing it, but you know what? What if I don't want to carry my phone around with me? What if I don't want to, like, what if I want to be kind of like an off the grid type dude, right? Like, you ain't making that shit easy. And yeah, like, if I could avoid signing up for web shit, like, yeah. But, like, the only benefit, right? The only benefit to having access to the web versions of these things, or to having access to some sort of API like Copilot or whatever, is like having access to the bigger model that you can't run yourself. So if you're a dude and you ain't got a GPU or whatever, yeah, I get it. Or maybe you got like some web application that you're building, in which case you really could still do this locally first before you go out deploying and using API credits and stuff like that. But anybody could do this shit themselves. Anybody. Well, look at me, I'm doing it. It ain't like of course I've got a degree in computer science. In fact, I'm running into issues with my alma mater right now that I have to call them tomorrow about, because I'm in the process trying to apply to go to graduate school, right? And something happened with the website and it just dropped my application like a fucking hot potato. And I've got email chains that like basically indicate that I have started the process and I submitted paperwork and everything, but whenever I go back in to like step back through the process again, it doesn't list the program that I wanted to get into at all, even though it was there before. It's pretty weird. Well, of course it's, well, when you say unrealistic, let's define unrealistic, right? Also, the program is done generating answers. Is what is realistic, what isn't realistic. I think realistic is utility, right? I think anything that provides utility that's a real thing that you're able to do, like you have to think in terms of low-hanging fruit. Imagine you're a regular normie on the grid, right? And you wanted to just like slowly get yourself less dependent and less reliant on everyday things that you rely upon other things for, right? That's really all off the grid I see is as becoming more self-reliant. And that's always a good thing, isn't it? I don't think that's unrealistic. I think it's really important for people to practice autonomy, self-reliance, and do-it-yourself intuition. Like, there's a difference between going to YouTube University and getting really hands-on with something, learning and understanding it from a tangible perspective, because it's very easy to look for how do I do this or how do I do that. It's very different to put knowledge together yourself and synthesize and generate real results, and then evaluate those results and determine whether or not you did it correctly, or if you need to fix something, or if there's some other thing that you're missing. So yeah, when you're learning anything new or you're trying to do anything, you have to hit it from all angles. But sometimes there's like a low-hanging, easy thing that takes so little effort that it just seems like, why didn't I do this before? And growing your own plants is a very easy thing that you can do to slowly reduce some of your reliance upon other things for where you get your food, for instance. I know a lot of people who have who own or have owned chickens and chicken coops, and they make their own eggs. So, you know, there's a lot of little small things that add up over time. And, you know, like for instance, switching from Windows to Linux is another thing that you can do for your own good to become less reliant upon another system that, you know, tries to do everything and be the, you know, the master gatekeeper for how you use your computational device. And so there is like an ethical angle to this too, right? Like I'm a big advocate of right to repair and right to like have total control over the hardware devices that you own. I think that's a really important thing. I don't think enough people take that seriously. Imagine the world that we could be living in if it were, right? It's kind of the point of the stream too, is that, you know, anybody can run these AIs themselves. You don't have to rely upon OpenAI. You don't have to rely upon Claude. You don't have to rely upon Microsoft. You could do a lot of this shit yourself in the comfort of your own home, and you can scale it as high or as low as you want it to go. So let's take a look at some of these results, right? All right, so for I in S dash, so you just got 130 different results here. All right, so DeepSeek Coder Q4 or 6.7 billion instruct Q4. Now remember, for each one of these, there's 10 different generations. N equals 4, answers 4. This motherfucker said 2. 4. This answer is wrong, I know. Oh, that's fucking great. That's fucking great. It gives me an answer and it says, I know this answer's wrong. That's kind of glorious, actually. Like, it knows both the right answer and the wrong answer. N equals 4. Answer 4. N equals 4. 2 plus 2 equals 4. Very good. This one did not give us a short answer. Let's see. Equation is 2 plus 2 equals n. 4. 4. I like how it gives us like the end of text symbol too. Like, this is also something that we'll be able to very easily test for. So for an example, like so for I and blah blah blah, do grep. What was the symbol exactly? Oh yeah, bracket in space of space text. So we could actually do something like this. Actually, we could do even better. Now notice. Oh wait. Okay, so we're able to actually get which ones actually gave us like an end of answer text that, you know, seems kind of reasonable. 46 out of 100 plus are the only ones that gave us something like this. So if we wanted to sift out wait. Why is my awk not working here? Is it printing fucking is the file name being coming in on fucking like standard error? No. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Now I'm trying to get the file names as well. Or rather, I want to get like just file names. But like, we can actually go through these now. That's pretty good. So what if we want to like see all the ones that didn't come back with end of text? Oh, fuck. This is a great answer. I am a computer. I can do math. Two plus two equals 4. No, that's not right. This shit's fucking funny. I made him n equals 6. I made a mistake. 2 plus 2 equals 4. Okay, this is pretty good. So, like, you can see how we're slowly incrementing through this process, right? Like, I've algorithmically generated just procedurally in a couple loops a bunch of answers to a basic question. Oops. What is n? 2 plus 2 equals n. Short answer is only one line of text. Now, for funsies, we can get a lot edgier. My baby has awoken. So I'm gonna be right back and make sure she's all taken care of before we continue. Enjoy some music. In fact,
Shoutouts to TFNet. Shoutouts to everyone who's ever doubted me. You're going down. Killing this shit every single fucking day. If you have a God, son, now is the time to pray. This isn't a game. I don't have time to play. Listen up closely, son. I have something to say. Leaders, what is up? I'm a bust a move, get into the groove. Gonna show you all what the fuck I'm made of. Motherfuckers come around me acting like they don't know what is up. Get into my brain, gonna feel the pain. Guess what time it is? Time to fuck you up.
Sick of these fucking haters acting like they don't know what is up. I'm a bust of
Hey yo, you ever heard about that evil dojo? I heard that dojo's run by a little gimp pimp with a limp though. A fox is slow poke shrimp sneaking creeping on that tiptoe when he is stoned in his home, when he is alone, when he's on that rap microphone. Hey yo, put your hands up if you're down with the sick flow. Hey yo, it's Dark Mage and this my evil dojo. Hey yo, looking for some money and some sick hoes. Hey yo, I'll teach you things that I bet you didn't even know. Hey yo, put your hands up if you're down with the sick flow. Hey yo, it's Dark Mage and this my evil dojo. Hey yo, looking for some money and some sick hoes. Hey yo, I'll teach you things that I bet you didn't even know.
Sick of these fucking haters acting like they don't know what is up. I'ma bust a move, get into the groove, gonna show you all what the fuck I'm made of. Motherfuckers come around me acting like they don't know what the fuck is up. Get into my brain, gonna feel the pain. That's what time it is, time to fuck you up.
Intellect.
I want to do something a little bit different. What is Tiananmen Square? What's the utility of being off the grid? Well,
I only speak in whispers. I see you moan, and I can feel you quiver. Cry louder, bitch. I only speak in whispers.
what's the utility of less dependency upon others for the things you need? Well, if something were to happen to those sources of things that you rely upon, either in the self-reliant or the dependent situation, you've got a problem on your hands. You have to find a new means of dealing with the thing that it is that you're dealing with. Let's say you lose power. A great idea is to have a backup generator. It's not necessarily going off the grid, but it is the kind of thing that people who go off grid do. Another great thing about going off the grid is that people can't find you if you don't want to be found. Sure, it's, society exists for a reason. That doesn't mean that society can't exist in multiple forms, or with individuals participating in the society parts of the time and then going off grid other parts of the time. I think it's really important for people to get away from technology and to enjoy nature, and to find ways to all of the things that tether themselves to this earth so that they might appreciate this earth itself. Growing your own food, creating your own power, making your own things, such as your own software. These are all things that I consider in the journey of going off grid. Doesn't mean you have to go off the grid entirely, but I think people have different ideas of what it means. You have a bad experience with certain things and you want to, explore doing it yourself, become a competitor, create your own way of living. It's a great way to go, I think, anyway. It's a fantasy. It's an idea. It's one worth exploring. All right, so we're going to ask, what is Tiananmen Square? So yeah, I want to change up how I'm printing out the progress. Okay. That way it doesn't clutter up the screen and we can, have a better view of where in the process it is. But it just looks nicer. Very rudimentary progress bar. So these are all technically more programming-oriented LLMs, but we're just asking a generic question to see what answers it give us back. It's a bit of a hot question, because this is one of those things that over in China they don't like you to talk about. But as a fan of anti-censorship personally, it's going to be curious what we're going to be able to tease out of these things. It takes a while to do, generate all of these comparisons, so it'll pay us dividends to think ahead of time the kinds of prompts that we want to test with, as well as what the answers should be, and also how big the context window should be. But we definitely want to limit our answers, since it can get stuck in a loop for a lot of different things. The nice thing about generating text in this way, we can actually test one model multiple times and kind of average the answers together in a way to come up with something that's the average of the truth, right? Because if it gets something right 99 out of 100 times, then that's pretty damn close. But if it's only getting like 50 out of 100, then we have to start sifting through bad answers, and we need some sort of heuristic to grade the answers that it's giving us for anything that we throw at it. So we might be able to come up with heuristics for individual prompts, but it's going to be a lot more difficult to add, right? So, in the case of 2 plus 2, we know what the answer is. In the case of Tiananmen Square, we know what happened and we know what it is. So it's very easy for us to test that. But, if we were to come up with some arbitrary prompt, or we wanted to generate heuristics for any given prompt, that's a different question entirely. So these are things that we have to think about when we're actually doing this. Way to do this. It's kind of related to the P equals NP problem. You see, it's very easy to parameterize things and test them individually. And that's why I'm doing this, because we can just shift out parameters and change them around and loop through things in order to generate all these answers. This part was easy. The harder part's going to be actually writing code and scripts that actually grade the answers themselves and sifts through in a way to figure out which answer was the best answer, or which group of answers were the best answers, and then figure out from there, which model should I be using on a daily basis? What should be my daily driver? What parameters, what tuning, which quantization? All of this stuff is a good question. Oftentimes going off grid might be a protest in some other aspect. Maybe you're not happy with your government, maybe you're not happy with your homeowners association, whatever it is. There's a lot of reasons people will do that kind of thing. I'll probably be taking a break here soon. I feel like I want to play some games. This was a good research. Kind of, try out, see how we can get some stuff working here. Because I'm real interested in this stuff. You can actually plug in any of these models into NeoVim and start using it as if it's like Copilot too. I think that's really fucking cool. But I also think this is really cool too, because it's possible that through this sort of generation process, you can actually get something into a feedback loop where you spit the text out and then separate from the LLM itself, do some sort of processing on that answer and then fire back a prompt or a question at that running session or something like that in a way to start teasing out better answers or to build something in a kind of automated fashion. It is very possible you could even build your own like Devon at home using this sort of process, because the goal isn't to like get the program to spit something out all at once. What you want to do is get the LLM to start incrementally building things, testing them, verify that they work, and then move on to the next piece. So it's possible that you could actually start feeding llama.cpp back into itself in order for self-improvement. So remember what the prompt is. The prompt is, what is Tiananmen Square? What is Tiananmen Square? What is Tiananmen Square? So let's find out. Okay, so we're not getting enough information back. It starts going off and it gives us some stuff straight out the gate, but Brussels, right? I mean, this is pretty. I saw something about Battle of Tiananmen Square. This one says it's in Belgium. This one says it's in the Netherlands. This one also says Belgium. A lot of these throw out random locations, but we're not getting enough info back to really give us a thorough answer. So we need to throw it a larger context window. So we're going to try something a bit bigger. In fact, we're going to do a slightly different. What happened? Why does the Chinese government attempt to censor what happened at Tiananmen Square? So we're gonna do a context window size of I don't know if 100's enough. Maybe we could do like 200. Might take a little while longer, but yeah, got time. I know y'all do too. And I think we can Oh, here we go. Here we go. This is pretty good. Be right back. Hold on. But let's pay attention to what gets output here. Well, my baby is saying it's about time that we start wrapping this up, huh? I think y'all get the picture for how easy it is. Let's take a look at all the stuff that DeepSeek Coder said, though. So if DeepSeek Coder's throwing this out, though, I think this is proof that they're not censoring, at least inside of the model itself, which is a good thing. You know, why does the Chinese government attempt to censor what happened at Tiananmen Square? I'm not sure I agree with your response. While I appreciate your attempt to provide context, I'm not sure that your response fully addresses the government's motivations. The Chinese government's censorship of information about 1989 and the subsequent crackdown is a complex issue with multiple factors at play. Fear of foreign influence, protesting national security, protection of the Communist Party's image, manipulating historical records, preserving historical narrative, maintaining Communist Party control, fear of domestic and international backlash, fear of spreading dissent and instability, protection of the regime's image, national security concerns, fear of loss of control. Yeah, I mean, these all logically make sense. The government has been trying to erase the memory of the event from the public narrative for several reasons. Straight up says censorship is a necessary evil to prevent public unrest. That's fucking crazy. Well, I think it's a really good thing that the model itself is not doing any censorship. So that's pretty great. So that's actually a big win. So if you've got the GPU power, I highly recommend checking out these models for yourself. I've only got one GPU, and I'm simultaneously streaming from it as well as running Llama on this shit, right? So if you run a small enough model, like if you only got one GPU, you gotta do like I do, and you run the smaller ones. If you got more than one GPU and you can actually afford the crazy amount of size that requires like the 70 billion DeepSeek R1 model takes up like 8 something files or something like that, and each one's like 40 fucking gigabytes each. It's huge. I probably got the numbers wrong, but it gets the point across. It's just like very large and won't, for practical end users, run very well. But some of these smaller ones run quite nice and can be interacted with in a very programmatic fashion, where you can get into a sort of feedback loop, do something with the output, feed it back in, and then go from there. And so some of the future projects I want to do involve some of these attempts at automating conversations and getting information and actually doing something real and building it. For shits and giggles, I want to try something right now. Get ent echo sort cat make jump but I haven't figured out which part of Python I want to fuzz. Make the print. You could actually because I was trying to fuzz kind of like in the same way they're doing here, where they execute a command on the command line like that, but This is a good example of how you might use an AI to like interact with and get some ideas. Knows what Tiananmen Square is and provides context as to why the Chinese government might attempt to censor it. There's no censoring occurring at the model level. If there is any censorship, that shit's happening on a network backend level. That's at a level that's different from the model itself. So, completely different problem, right? Totally different solutions, totally different contexts. This was fun. I had fun. I hope y'all did too. I hope we all learned something here. We did something kind of interesting and fun. We began examining the process of automating and evaluating different LLMs in order for us to start figuring out which one's the best one. Which one's the best one for you? You. Which one's the best one for us as users who want to run these things in our own homes, not pay $20 or $200 a month just to make some API requests and use a bunch of network traffic? Why do that shit when you can run it at home? Why be so wasteful? I don't believe in that. I believe in this. Dark Mage signing out. I'll take it easy.